Let's talk about life path number 6 today, you guys. All right. So when you're talking about life path number 6, you're talking about the number of humanity and all of the beauty that that holds. Think about it. What are the beautiful things that we do day to day? It's the diurnal number. It's the day-to-day number. It's the domestic number. It's the personal life number. Okay. Your hobbies, your partner, your children, your job. Okay, everything you do day to day, and then the more mundane, doing laundry, everything that pertains to. Okay, so when you're talking about life path number 6, you're talking about an ascension from number 5. So what is number 5? We talked about that yesterday, right? That is the freedom from the burden of this, but also additional struggles associated with that, whether it's health matters, mental health matters, right? Or just random accidents occurring all the time. So 6 is essentially what? Logically, we're talking about the focus being daily stability and consistency for this life path number. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to provide some examples, some numbers, right, that are important to this realm, right? And I think that are going to help you guys understand what's important to understand in this realm, obstacles to overcome, things to pay attention to, okay? 623, 632, 666, 60, 66, 69, and 67. Now, essentially every number that has a 6 in it is important to the realm of 6. But I'm not going to sit here going over all of them, right? That's why you need to buy my book. We can't give out all the free game, but I want to provide those examples at least. Now, as always, let's add some attributes or tendencies, right? The shadow and light aspects, okay? Now, we have someone that tends to be content. And this can also lead to complacency, okay? But this is someone else who is also powerful as it relates to personal connectedness. But when we flip the concept of complacency, someone with life path 6 can also tend to feel unfulfilled or like there is something missing or simply yearning for more. Now, this is also someone that is known to have routine, okay? But this can also be someone on the flip side of that knows how to be spontaneous. They might not always tap into that as often, and that is an important lesson for Life Path 6, okay? Because it is important to break the monotony, okay? Otherwise, you are going to feel a void, okay? That's something very important to keep in mind. Now, this is also someone that can be a great humanitarian, right? Someone that believes in service of others, right? Someone that believes in helping humanity, okay? Because this is the diurnal matter and the number of the beauty of the human experience. This is someone who tends to be family oriented, okay? This is someone who tends to be responsible. This is someone who tends to be grounded. This is a personal manifester, okay? If you go down a 6th Avenue, a 6th Street, I assure you, it is going to look beautiful because this tends to be someone who takes great pride, right, in their domestic presentation. Now, this can tend to be someone that is quite domestic, right, and career-oriented. But with that, the flip side of that can also come a fear of settling, right, and rightfully so, right? We always want to make sure that we are choosing the right path, right? So don't allow that fear of settling to keep you from being able to pull in your true power as it relates to personally manifesting for yourself, okay? This can be someone that can be naive, okay? There is a skepticism. There is a naivete, right, with Life Path 6, simply because we're not yet at the resonance of 7. And 7 is where? The darkness, the transformation, the learning to understand toxicity, the learning to understand negative people, negative partners, negativity within self. So we're not quite there yet. So this might be someone who finds themselves in an unhealthy relationship. And with Life Path 6, there's typically going to be a great sense of practicality. But with that practicality, as it relates to the realm of 6, there can also be a tendency to condemn those who are different, to condemn those who do things differently, to condemn those who step outside of the box, to condemn those who choose to have a different family situation, right? Life Path 6 may be someone who isn't really sure about polyamory, right? Or loving in a different way, right? Or same-sex couples, things like that. They may have a resistance towards those things. Not always, right? But this is an example of that. What I mean by the condemnation of someone who is doing something differently in the realm of sex because of the practicality, right? Because of the complacency that tends to creep in. Okay, because of the family orientedness, the responsibility, the groundedness, right? They may have not been taught anything differently. Now, the flip side of that, and there's always a flip side, right? If you are someone that's life path 6 and you were raised or you have grown into yourself to be a polyamorous person or to be an LGBTQ plus member, you may have the opposite view. You may subconsciously demonize those who do not live the way you do, who may not be as free as it relates to love matters and relationship matters, who may be more monogamous, who may be more by the book, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. Compassion is important, and the ability to accept others as they are and for who they choose to be is important. Now, some things I want to make sure that you, my Life Path 6, do is feed your soul, not just your wallet. Do what feels good, not just what looks good. Okay. I know it might, that's so important, you guys. And that's a big lesson, and that's a big focus for you, because you're going to want to do things the way you think things should be done. Loosen up a little. Okay. I want you to be brave enough to break social norms if you desire different than what you've been taught to desire. Okay. And then I want you to be mindful of the influence of darkness. Know what isn't good for you, my loves. Whoops, I almost ended the video without delivering what I promised. Going over some numbers. Okay, so when we talk about 623 versus 632, if you're familiar with my content, you know that I have coined 23 as the number of good karma and 32 the number of negative karma, right? So shifts versus stagnancy. 23 does not necessarily exempt you from difficulty. It simply means that said difficulty will lead to a better trajectory. It will lead you to a better space. Okay, it has room for growth, breaking from the stagnancy that 32 holds. Okay, so when we talk about 623, that's exactly that. I need you to be aware of karmic energies in your life. I need you to be aware of your own personal hindrances. I need you to be aware of these things, because the last thing I want you to do as a Life Path 6 is be complacent, be content with the mundane without really feeding what your soul desires. And that is typically going to be more. Because that is what the soul does. It desires new experiences. It holds memories. It holds remnants of experiences. It is the part of us that lives on. So when you're talking about concepts like reincarnation, right? And past lives and things like that, and people saying, oh, I like this. I must have been this in a last lifetime, right? Things like that. It's important because those energies do persist, right? And the more you can endure and switch things up, right? The better for the soul, the better for a Life Path 6. You won't become depressed or bitter, right? And tired of the same old thing. That happens to a lot of housewives. Let's be real about it. Depression is so common in housewives because of the monotony, the mundane, right? The repetition. That is what the soul does not like, right? You're either growing or dying. Think about it. 666 is next. Now, 666 tends to be demonized, and it can hold difficult energy, but not necessarily, because we're talking about the diurnal number, the personal number, being presented 3 times. 3 is a number of manifestation, right? Physicality, stability, right? So we're essentially talking about either your life coming into stability, right? And the sequence totals 18, which represents balance typically, right? But we could also be talking about the realm of justice, which is also what 8 represents, which could be what a representation of a more difficult instance of 666 could be, right? Unfortunately, let's say your parent died in an accident. That could be 666 energy, right? Because it completely changes. And the reason it would be related to justice is a deeper karmic conversation. We don't need to get into that right now. But essentially, the message of 666 is to not fear change, because it always opens doors, right? 1 and 8 totals 9, the number of endings and new beginnings. Do not fear change, my loves. It may be painful. It may be beautiful. But nonetheless, do not fear it. 60. 60 is a number of a new diurnal cycle. An example would be a new job, having a baby, right? Getting married, right? Buying a home. These are examples of a profound manifestation. It's the double up of 30, right? That literally is creating a new chapter in your life. It's a beautiful aspect. All right, next let's do 66, the co-creative number, right, as it relates to the number 6. It totals 12. So typically here we're talking about a lifelong relationship, a lifelong union, right, because we're talking about a being navigating the realm of connection, right, or the realm of the mindset. So alternatively, 66 could represent a lifelong way of relating to the world, a lifelong mindset, right? If you are born a Christian, you die a Christian, that is an example of 66 energy, right? That is okay. It is okay to hold firm in your beliefs, but be open to other perspectives. Be open to learning, right? But be open to fully connecting. Like I said, if we're talking about a lifelong union here, that's a beautiful blessing, okay? When we talk about 69, which is the number I want to talk about next, it can be a little bit darker. The reason being it totals 15, right? And 1 and 5 also, again, total 6, which gives us additional insight. When we talk about 6, we're talking about the diurnal life, the personal life, pulling in 9 energy. So this could be an example of someone's life coming to an end, literally. But this could also be an example of a certain life chapter, like in addition to the 60 energy, right? Whatever 60 energy was implemented in your life, that coming to an end, that would be an example of this, right? So maybe moving to a new place, getting a new job, right? It's just the end of a chapter. So it's nothing to fear. And this is why it's so important, because when you have anything that has 15 related to it, which is the total of the sequence, it comes with difficult emotion. It comes with difficult energy. It comes with discomfort, right? But you need discomfort to grow. So keep that in mind, my loves. Now let's close this video with 67. And this is important because when I told you guys one of the biggest lessons for Life Path 6 is being mindful of the influence of darkness, this is a great example of that. When you're talking about 6, your personal life, pulling in the number of darkness, totaling 13, we're talking about the way that you're living may be hindering your manifestations, may be bringing in difficulty, may be causing difficult people, difficult situations, right? Or manifestations to crumble. Okay, because you are not aware of the toxicity that's around you, of the toxicity that may be within you, of the people that you're allowing into your home that may be a detriment. Okay, so this is very important, you guys. I want you to understand how powerful external interpersonal influences can be, right? As within, so without. The more you are in touch with who you are, the more work you do on yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, the less likely it is that darkness will overtake your manifestations. Be mindful, my darlings. Be aware. Gain awareness of self, and you will gain awareness of others. Protect yourself, okay, from others. Don't fear them. I'm not telling you to do that, but I need you to be mindful. I need you to be aware. I need you to have insight as it relates to darkness, because it is an aspect of this reality. Have a great day, my loves.